Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die, looking through the eyes of a brand new life. And so just find me, just find me. Sparks will fly if we scream no. This is not how we're gonna go. We are the ones who'll never let go. Just watch us roll till we're no one knows. We'll never grow.
Formula 1 returns to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal for round 7 of the 2017 season, the Canadian Grand Prix, and there was much speculation surrounding the whole weekend, following on from two very controversial decisions from the steward's last race to hand both Carlos Sainz and Esteban Ocon each a one-race ban for their dangerous driving when going up to be lapped by the two Williams drivers. BMW bring their first major upgrade package of the season, as they feel that this is their best race to finally take a win in the season and try and take the fight to Red Bull for third place in the Constructors. Toyota announced that third driver Komario Kobayashi will be racing for the team for this weekend, as Esteban Ocon serves his one-race ban following the incident with Josh Cherra at the previous race meeting. Haas were also huge beneficiaries from the BMW upgrades, as both Lance Stroll and Robert Kubica looked to edge towards the top 10 in qualifying and for the race as well. Cosworth also bring a redesigned turbo for both Red Bull and Sauber, as they both look to increase their power from the engine and move slower up the grid to fight for higher paying points positions. Nico Cario also raced for Toro Rosso, as Carlos Sainz also receives a one-race ban for weaving dangerously in front of Sebastian Buemi when the Williams driver came up to lap him. For the second race in a row, Sebastian Vettel will start from pole position, and once again Fernando Alonso will complete the front row as the lead Mercedes. It'll be the usual suspects completing the second row, with Jean-Eric Vergne getting the better of Pascal Wehrlein by almost 0.2 of a second to line up in P3. Josh Cherra will use his BMW power unit upgrades to good effect to line up in 5th, with Max Verstappen maximising the power from his Cosworth powered Red Bull to line up in 6th. The teammates of Josh Cherra and Max Verstappen, Sebastian Buemi and Daniel Kvyat line up in 7th and 8th to complete the 4th row of the grid. Lewis Hamilton starts from 9th in the Toyota, with Lance Stroll getting into the top 10 for the first time in his Formula 1 career, also benefiting from some extra power. Komario Kobayashi lands up in 11th on his first qualifying since Brazil 2014, with Robert Kubica completing the 6th row for Haas. Nico Hülkenberg will start as the lead runner from 13th, with Nico Kari on his F1 debut managing 14th on the grid. Daniel Ricciardo will start from 15th and 2nd of the Renaults, with Rui Harianto the lead McLaren in 16th, Giovinazzi as the lead Sauber in 17th, then Jordan and Sutil 18th and 19th, and Pierre Gasly will round off the back of the grid after not setting a time. Hey guys, Tara here. Welcome back to UniONE, this time in round 7 for Season 4, the Canadian Grand Prix. If you did miss the race last time out, definitely do go and check that one out. There's some pretty controversial things went down, forward crash into turn 1, and then you've seen the race bans for both Sainz and Esteban Ocon. So what can Komario Kobayashi do in this race? His first race since Brazil 2014 when he was back in the Caterham and back to Season 1, and this Toyota is going to be very different to the last car that he's driven in Formula 1. Also, what can Nico Kari do on his debut in Formula 1? Taken straight out of Formula 3, so he's not even had any GP2 experience yet, so a big step up there for the young Finn. It's time to see how he does in his first race in Formula 1. We're now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the Canadian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. Can we get a good start for once this season? No, we get another terrible start. So he looks and they've got Max Verstappen. Easy breezes past us. No, got Sebastian Buemi going side by side with us now to tail one. Try holding now around the inside. Our team Sebastian Buemi should then turn to the outside. So now to try holding it around the outside on the racing line. One team Sebastian Buemi. Buemi just managed to slither up the inside there. So we lose 2 positions there. We'll start now trying to defend now from Daniel Kvyat in the second of the Red Bulls. And then the lead Toyota there of Lewis Hamilton. We're getting right behind up Sebastian Buemi there through the sector. I mean, we just edged out Sebastian Buemi in qualifying, so there's not much between us in this race weekend. So Buemi really is finally starting to find his feet, find some form in this season. If we get a terrible exit there, get too much on the curb, lose the back end completely, that's going to really kill our momentum now. Down this back straight, that's going to allow Daniel Kvyat now to close round to the back of us now. And have to go defensive there slightly to the inside, taking more compromised line through the apex of that corner than what we would have wanted. But thankfully we do stay ahead there. Daniel Kvyat uses the power to pull away there from the Red Bull. As you see there, coming on now into the hairpin. Because through the corners is where the Red Bull excels over the Williams, but there's not really that many corners here around Canada, so you'd think that hopefully, Williams have the advantage this weekend over the Austrian drinks company. Now getting in solution now on the back of Sebastian Buemi is now getting in solution also on the back of Verstappen, and we've got the 2 Ferraris going side by side up in front. I think Sebastian Vettel making a move in, John-Eric Verne is side by side now into the final corner, getting so close to the wall there between the two of them. That's really going to kill the momentum completely now to get a good view of everyone else there coming through the final chicane. There's going to be side by side and Sebastian Buemi now to go around the outside of Max Verstappen there, coming down into turn 1, and Verstappen trying to go around the outside now, one in the Ferraris trying to hold it right around the outside. Can the Dutchman keep up the inside? No, he can't. Gets a poor exit there around the outside and loses quite a bit of time there to the back of the 2 Ferraris. Now moving on to the end of that lap, you see the 2 Ferraris now pull quite a bit of a gap now to Max Verstappen. He's now coming under pressure now from our teammate Sebastian Buemi, then ourselves and Daniel Kvyat just waiting behind in case anything happens with us three. I mean, with us three being this close together and how hard we're fighting Red Bull in the championship, it won't be difficult to expect. It's something that does go wrong with one of us 4 at least. Now again, right behind Sebastian Buemi, because Buemi, of course, we have the straight line speed advantage over the Red Bulls, but on the corner exits, the Red Bulls just have such better downforce, better chassis at this point in the season, that through the corners they're just pulling away from us with their extra traction and a bit of extra downforce to get very close to the wall there. That's something that everyone wants to do. All it takes is one tap of the wall to get a puncture, which we've seen a few times. Remember back to Fernando Alonso in 2005 there, just brushed the wall, got a puncture, and then lost the race to one of the McLarens, I think it was. Once again, we don't get a better exit off that chicane, so that's really our weak point on this circuit, and it's just not giving us the run we need to try and attack our teammate Sebastian Buemi, whilst we're still stuck behind Max Verstappen. I mean, we're both faster than Verstappen, it's just with the extra downforce of that Red Bull, our power unit advantage just really isn't enough for us to close back in on the Cosworth powered Red Bull. Once again, through that chicane, through the hairpin, we just get a poor exit once again, which is just leaving us too far behind our teammate to be able to attack Sebastian Buemi, to try and take what would currently be P6 in this race. But now we're getting quite a bit in the slipstream here on the back with Sebastian Buemi now coming up to find the hairpin, and Buemi that locks up. He's going to make it around the corner, just makes it around the corner there, defends well to the inside honestly, and somehow manages to get around the corner, because if you go over the other side of that chicane, you have to go around the escape bollard, which is coming up to Pelling. They've got Lance Stroll trying to go over the inside now of Daniel Kvyat, coming onto tail one. He's side by side now with Lance Stroll, and Daniel Kvyat. Lance Stroll finally found some pace in the season. He's finally woken up at his home Grand Prix, putting on an amazing show for the home crowd. If we could have made a move there on Daniel Kvyat, because Haas have the exact same power unit, so they've got the upgrades as well. And imagine that Haas is basically a lower drag Williams, so that's going to be mighty in a straight line. And Daniel Kvyat's really going to have his work cut out to try and defend there from the young Canadian. But now we're still in P7, stuck up behind Sebastian Buemi. We've still got Daniel Kvyat right behind us. You can see on the minimap the whole train of cars that's formed behind me and Buemi from Buemi's one lockup. And you can just see how much that's allowed Max Verstappen to already pull off there into the distance. Now we're getting a good run in the slipstream now on the back with Sebastian Buemi. Now coming into the hairpin, close to try and make a move there up the inside and think about making a move. We're just a bit too far back. Get so close there once again to making contact there with the back of Buemi's car, which we did back in Monaco, but thankfully we managed to avoid tapping the rear of his gearbox this time. So now we get the slipstream and DRS once again. You see, just don't get the traction out of the hairpin that we need to close up to the back of Sebastian Buemi. Now coming up into the hairpin, can Buemi middle there. Buemi locks up there once again and just fezes his side. You see the Pascal Vance, that's the fastest lap of the Grand Prix for 1 minute 15. I don't think we're going to set anything near that coming across the line. We're going to set a 1 minute 18, so we lost 3 seconds on that lap, and most of it lost there in that final chicane, the Wall of Champions. Sebastian Buemi once again with a horrible lock-up there into the final chicane. Now his tyres must be triangular at this point. He'll be running around on Flintstone wheels if he carries on like this. Once again, Daniel Kvyat somehow managing to hold off Lance Stroll in that mighty straight line speed of that Haas. So we go green there through the first sector, finding time. But of course, since we're basically going off our first lap still, it's not going to be difficult to find time on our first sectors. You see, Buemi seems to be having trouble there into the final chicane, just trying to carry too much speed there to try and keep in front of us, but see the rest of the lap here. It's braking where he should be, and there's nothing we can do about it here. Now getting in back as Sebastian Buemi once again, they're coming up into the hairpin, and Buemi there with another lockup. Says Buemi having brake issues, it just holds it around the outside, just closes the door enough that we can't fit our front wing there, otherwise it would have made it too wide there and tried to make the move on our teammate. So now once again, we'll have DRS once again try and go back to Sebastian Buemi, and now time will tell. Can he make it around the final corner this time, or is Buemi having serious brake issues? Now we're going to get launched and going to pull to the inside. Sebastian Buemi think about making a move there, but this time Sebastian Buemi does manage to get around the final chicane properly. We get a huge snap of oversteer there on the curbing. And now I can give Daniel Kvyat a run that's now trying to come down this turn one. Kvyat's going to have the slipstream, but we're going to still have the slipstream and the superior engine on the back, still getting a slipstream on the back of Sebastian Buemi. And that time Sebastian Buemi did manage to make it around the final corner. The other side, Buemi just had 3 horrible lockups in a row, and maybe change his brake bias further back, take less stress off the front tyres. Well, either way, what he's doing looks like it's worked, and now hopefully me and Buemi can try and build a gap to Daniel Kvyat, Lance Stroll, and pretty much the rest of the grid which is stuck behind us, and try and reel in Max Verstappen, maybe even the 2 Ferraris and the 2 Mercedes if they start battling. I mean, we've got a straight line speed advantage over them, we've got an obvious aero disadvantage, but less aero equals more straight line speed, and you know how good straight line speed worked for us last season, taking the championships quite convincingly in the end. Now it's the end, gaining in slipstream once again on the back of Sebastian Buemi, now coming up into the hairpin, we're close to trying to make a move, and just a bit too far back there, but Buemi this time manages to get round the hairpin, so all looks to be fixed there with the Williams. And hopefully we can try and use the slipstream now to try and pull away from Daniel Kvyat. Because Kvyat, see the proximity right behind us. So Daniel Kvyat is keeping right with us there. Actually pulled away in there quite a bit there from Lance Stroll now. Now getting on the back now, Sebastian Buemi can make a move now, coming up into final chicane. Sebastian Buemi with a huge lock up there once again. He goes wide over the curbing, then comes back onto the track and he's stopped. He's been taken out there by one of the Toyotas. A huge crash there with one of the Toyotas. Get a complete traffic jam there. The 2 runners slam into the back of the Haas. And so now we're up into P6, and there's a safety car deployed, and honestly I'm not really surprised. A huge traffic jam there in the final chicane. What happened there to Sebastian Buemi? He went wide and then just completely stopped. So taking a look at a replay of what happened from Sebastian Buemi's perspective. He says going around the outside there, the huge lock up there, tries to make the corner but can't, and it hops over the curb, and his car just stopped, and it gets a huge smack there from one of the Toyotas. I imagine that might be Buemi out the race there with radiator damage, or something in the side pod must be completely wrecked there from that. Now it's actually Lewis Hamilton there, the Toyota that makes contact, I think. Now they're making a move here on Lance Stroll. It's a good run there on the Canadian, makes a move there to the inside of Lance Stroll. Going to final chicane, Sebastian Buemi just stops him to the track, and Hamilton with nowhere to go because Stroll still would have been there on his inside, so really unfortunate move there from the 2008 World Champion, the one time to not make an overtake. Now looking further back now at the 2 runners who got stuck right behind, and just taking a look at the traffic jam. You see there, Stroll just manages to get through, and then there's a huge traffic jam of cars further behind. Now cutting a bit further onto the end of that lap, the team actually called us in there to make a pit stop under the safety car, and we're going into another set of the ultra soft tyres. So we've converted this race from a 1 stop to a 2, because the team have seen enough of a gap to bring us out in the thing that staying out longer on another set of ultras will give us enough time versus all the people making a 1 stop in this race. But it's going to drop us quite a way down the order. You see there's one of the McLarens going through turn 1 there, and coming out just in front there, one of the McLarens are just behind, going to be side by side there with that McLaren. Did we manage to get in front of them before we come out the pits? And like, no, we have to get that position back there to that McLaren just to be Haryanto. So we just come out there behind Haryanto. They're cutting a bit further on behind the safety car, taking a look now at the running order. It's actually Pascal Wehrlein leading the Grand Prix there. That's a really good start from Fernando Alonso in second. So we think Wehrlein does seem to have some pretty good form at this race. And then we have the lead of the Ferraris, which is currently Jean-Eric Vergne. And then we have the second of the Ferraris, which must be Sebastian Vettel, because there's only 2 Ferraris in the race. And then continuing the Noah's Ark theme, we have the 2 Red Bulls. So we've still got Max Verstappen here leading Daniel Kvyat for 5th and 6th. And then we have the 2 Hasses there with Lance Stroll with his amazing start to his home Grand Prix, his first home Grand Prix as well, keeping ahead there of the 2008 Canadian Grand Prix winner Robbie Kubica. So they've both got some pretty good motivation to try and do well in this race. And then we have Komario Kobayashi there just inside the top 10 in 9th. Then we have Pierre Gasly, who started his last in his Grand Prix, now currently up into P10, so an amazing start there from Pierre Gasly. Then we have Adrian Sutil there in 11th in the Sauber, so Cosworth upgrades really are working well. And then we have Sebastian Buemi rounding off the top 12 of the point scorers. Then we have Giovinazzi just outside the points paying positions there in 13th, with Haryanto, the leader of the McLarens, in 14th. Then we got us right up behind his radio diffuser there in 15th. Then we have Carmen Jorda in 16th. And then the lead of the Renaults, which is currently Daniel Ricciardo, Nico Hülkenberg. And then we have Lewis Hamilton after making a pit stop for a new front wing. And Nico Kari, unfortunately, running off the back of the grid on his F1 debut. A bit further on now, we come back onto the restart now of the Canadian Grand Prix. We're all over the back now of Rio Haryanto. We're coming into turn 1, we're just a bit too far back behind that McLaren to make anything of it. And this is going to be hopefully an easy move on Rio Haryanto. I mean, the McLaren just have amazing chassis and aerodynamics, and you can always say a slower car will do better through the corners. But when we get to a straight, you just see the difference in speed between our BMW M Sport engine versus the Mugen Honda in the back of this McLaren. As you'll bunch up here behind the slower cars, behind the two Sabres, we've got Adrian Sutter there, of course, leading this queue of cars. And once again, we just get a poor exit off that chicane once again. There's something we really need to work on in this race. You see, we're losing time here to make a move there up the inside of Rio Haryanto, get very close there to the back of Rio Haryanto there, unsettled him through the corner, takes the compromised line. Now we can gain it in slowly, now we're going to pull around to the outside now of Rio Haryanto, now coming up to the hairpin, can make a move, stick around the outside. Now Haryanto there can keep his nose in up the inside, side by side with the Indonesian driver. They're going to be slow aside on corner exit. I think we just have the best traction there on the racing line. And we do manage to make the move there on Rio Haryanto. You can see how much we're already pulling away there from the Indonesian in that McLaren Honda. It's got no straight line speed whatsoever. And now the next car for us to try and catch is currently Antonio Giovinazzi. He's having a good race there for Sauber. You see our teammates in the pit, so Sebastian Buemi has obviously had to pit, maybe just the team checking for damage. So now that's going to put Giovinazzi currently in a points paying position there. You can see in the top left, we're currently in P9 and P20, so that means Giovinazzi is currently in P8 and could be on for very good points. He gets a poor exit there, Rantel 1 getting a complete slide on. We know that Sauber hasn't got much in the way of downforce, and when you try and floor the throttle, it's going to slide everywhere, which you really doesn't do tyres any favours. But when you're battling the fastest car in a straight line for your position, you've got to do everything you can to defend. And that doesn't mean we're going on the brakes very early, because of course Giovinazzi have to brake a lot earlier than what we do. We've got more downforce to slow our car down than what that Sauber has. But of course the Sauber with less downforce is going to be really fast in a straight line because it's effectively a low drag car. Now we're getting a good run on the back now of Giovinazzi. Going make the move now to the outside, no good to the inside this time of Giovinazzi, coming into the hairpin. Going to be side by side now with the young Italian, and a huge lock up there from Giovinazzi, of course, trying everything to defend from ourselves, but there's not really much point in with so much of a faster car. He should just really focus on trying to keep ahead there of the team of McLaren. Now we switch to the outside now. Giovinazzi going to be drag race now down into the final chicane. It should be a drag race that we should easily win, of course, with DRS as well, because we're behind Giovinazzi at the detection point. And now we make the move on Giovinazzi. So now Giovinazzi, for his sake, can try and stick with us now in the slipstream, try and pull away there from the two McLarens who now close up right behind, and now we can try and chase down the lead of the Toro Rosso, which is currently Pierre Gasly after starting last in the Grand Prix. And Gasly now is currently in a P7 position there, so an amazing start to the Grand Prix there for Pierre Gasly, making up currently what is 13 positions in 12 laps. He's made over one position a lap as it stands so far. But now hopefully we should be able to make an easy move on the back of the Frenchman, because Renault power v BMW power, that's not really going to be much of a contest between the two of us either, because Gasly will be getting the slipstream there off the two cars in front of him. They're going to actually go side by side there through the final chicane. That's really going to slow both of them down. We go right up behind the back of Gasly there. That's really slowed us down completely. We go a bit too much on the brakes. They're getting a bit too cautious on the brakes. We're seeing how fierce midfield battles can get. I think it's better just to play it cautious there. And we're still behind Gasly. Gasly's still the car in front of us. He looks like one of the Toyotas there and one of the Hasses. They've just swapped positions in front of us there. So the Toyotas with some good pace in this race, of course the Hass as well in a straight line, but the Toyota may not have the straight line speed as also the Hass, but it's definitely got much better downforce and chassis. It looks at what the Hass is. When you through the corners, you can see the Toyota already pulling away from the Hass, so the French just backing up there through the corners. The Toyota is the better car, but in pure straight line speed, there's nothing you can do against the Hass, unless you've somehow got DRS and there's a mega run on the back of it. Coming up still behind Pierre Gasly now, hopefully coming up into the hairpin. We can try and make a move on the back of the Frenchman, getting a lot in the slipstream here on the back of Pierre Gasly. We think a move there to the inside, try and pull him off to try and go around the outside now and get very close there to making contact with his rear left tyre, but thankfully we just avoid making contact there with it. Now we will have DRS on the back of Pierre Gasly, but it's going to be enough this time to try and make a move on the back of the Frenchman, gaining quite significantly here in the slipstream on the back of Pierre Gasly. You're going to make a move to the inside, coming into final chicane. We think about making a move there to the inside. We're just back Calvin, not close enough there alongside. It looks like the Haas there peels off into the pit lane. Now we're going to get a second bite of DRS now on the back of Pierre Gasly. We're trying to make a move coming into tail one this side, getting very close there to the back of the Frenchman. Now going to pull to the inside of Pierre Gasly. Once again, we're just not quite close enough there to make a move up the inside, but now that Haas is pitted, hopefully Gasly won't have DRS on the back of the Toyota. See how much the Toyota is already pulling away. And cutting a bit further on into that lap, still right up behind the back now of Pierre Gasly, with Giovinazzi still behind us there in what is currently P7, which is the highest place he's ever ran in his F1 career at this point in the season, and in his entire career as well, assuming this is his debut season in Formula 1. We get a terrible exit once again off that chicane, which just allows Pierre Gasly just to run away into the distance. But with our superior straight line speed and our downforce allowing us to brake later, take more speed through the corners, we just close right back in onto the back of the Frenchman. Now going up into the hairpin course, we're not close enough here to make a move, but hopefully Gasly isn't close enough to the back of that Toyota in front to make a move on them. So hopefully this time with DRS we can try and make a move on Pierre Gasly. You see we're already gaining in the slipstream on the back now of Pierre Gasly. Now going to be DRS, and that's going to be pretty much just a drag race now down in the final chicane. And it's going to be a drag race reason when Gasly there puts up no defence whatsoever, because there's not very much point because he's coming into the pits anyway, so there really was no point in fighting us whatsoever, and possibly causing a crash if we were on the outside. Now that's going to put us up obviously another position. Still got Gasly there behind us carrying on, and now we're coming up now behind one of the Toyotas. Now we're currently up into P2 as Lewis Hamilton in the Toyota puts up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so it gives pretty much prove the Toyotas do have some really good pace, and that's easily beat there by Sebastian Vettel. And now Kamui Kobayashi is leading the Grand Prix on his return to Formula 1. Kobayashi in a Toyota, so a Japanese driver in a Japanese car leading a Grand Prix, and this is just purely must just be for pride to lead a lap on his return in a Japanese car. See, we're gaining significantly on the back now of the Japanese driver, because our tyres are still quite a bit fresher than what Kobayashi does. Kobayashi and no one else pit under that safety car, so we'll have fresher tyres than everyone on the grid, besides the ones that haven't pitted at least, because all the ones that pitted will definitely have fresher tyres than what we do. Now coming into the hairpins, we go green there through the second sector, of course using the slipstream, getting quite a bit on the back of Kamui Kobayashi. Now gaining in the slipstream, now we have DRS. Now try and make a move on the back of Kobayashi. Now gaining quite a bit in the slipstream because the Toyota's still with an AMG engine, still not brought their own engine yet, so it's still going to be pretty decent in a straight line. And we stay out for another lap. If we thought about pitting that lap, we're just going to mimic what Kobayashi does, because honestly I just want to give Kobayashi the glory of leading a lap, because if we ever took him in the final chicane, then technically he wouldn't have led for an entire lap. But now Kobayashi has now led a Grand Prix for an entire lap of his F1 career. I think that might be the first time he's actually led a Grand Prix as well. But still, now try and make a move now on the back of Kobayashi. We've let him have his glory, so now he's trying to pile the pressure onto the back of the Japanese driver, of course making his debut for Toyota back in 2009. So he knows this team pretty well, albeit he hasn't. This is only his third race for Toyota, considering he came in at the end when Glock was injured. So he hasn't had much experience driving a Toyota. Now cutting a bit further onto that lap, once again we get another terrible exit through that corner. Now try and get in the back now of Kobayashi. Now we've got Haryanto behind us. Of course Haryanto starting us there at super soft tyres, so we're expecting to go longer in this Grand Prix. Now coming up into the hairpin and gaining on the back of Kobayashi once again, but we're just not close enough there to make a move up the inside of Kamui Kobayashi, because Kobayashi experienced enough in Formula 1 to defend from us where he needs to be. And now this time we are coming into the pits at the end of this lap regardless of what anyone else does. Now we're getting in the DRS on the slipstream on the back of Kobayashi, but the question is Kobayashi coming into the pits at the end of this lap as well? So Kobayashi there pulls a bit to the right, so Kobayashi is going to come into the pits as well. So that's going to be a pit stop race between Williams and between Toyota. Which of us two comes out in the lead of us two? In Toyota, well, that's the last time we came in battling them. I think it was Hamilton. We had the better pit stop there, so hopefully the Toyota have learned in their first 6 races of what to do, and we come out there and Kobayashi is absolutely nowhere near us, so a terrible pit stop once again there for Toyota. Now we're going to come out back onto the track now in pretty much some midfield traffic. I think our teammate just went through there into turn 2 now. Yeah, I think pretty sure that's our teammate that's coming out. That is indeed our teammate Sebastian Buemi there coming out into turn 2. We're going to just between one of the Hasses there. Now we've got one of the Toro Rossos looking very racy right behind us. As we come through the chicane, hopefully we don't make a mistake here on cold tyres, which thankfully we don't, and we do actually keep in front there of actually Nico Carey. So Carey there looks to have found some pace in this race. We've seen he was last on the safety car restart, of course using those ultra soft tyres and the pace to his advantage. So Carey really is picking up his pace. Of course this is much more different to a GP3 car, which is what he's currently racing in, so making a huge step up to Formula 1 pretty much in one race weekend. So he's adapted really well, honestly, I'd have to say, to Formula 1. You've got yellow flags further behind, that's not going to affect us now. Green flags, who we are close enough to Kibisa. Kibisa there with a horrible lock up there on a set of soft tyres. Now we've got a safety car deployed. Now Giovinazzi's out of the Grand Prix. So Giovinazzi could have been on there for points, looking really good in the Sauber. Looks like something has let him down. Now looking at replay of what happened here to Giovinazzi. So he's following the Toyota there, Kobayashi, and his teammates. So he just pulled there to the inside. I don't think, there's nothing mechanical. See, there's no smoke coming out the back of his car. So possibly what? It's another suspension issue, brake issue. but something there has forced the young Italian to retire from what could have been Sauber's best chance of scoring points finish. Looking a bit further on behind the second safety car, now we've got Fernando Alonso leading the Grand Prix, so at some point between that safety car and this one, he's taking the lead from Pascal Wehrlein. Then we have Jean-Eric Vergne there still in P3. Then we have one of the Toyotas currently in P4, which I think is actually Lewis Hamilton, so Hamilton there has recovered well to P4 on the side of the ultra soft tyres. Then we have the lead Red Bull, which is still massive down to Verstappen with some good pace in this race to hold off. Looks like the second of the Ferraris there off Sebastian Vettel. So Vettel there, Vettel must have made a pit stop, so Vettel may be doing a two-stop in this race. Then we have Sebastian Buemi, he's somehow still going in this race. Then we have Kubica there's the lead Haas, and then ourselves on a set of the super soft tyres. Then we have Nico Carey behind us, so Carey with another pit stop at least to make in this race. Behind him we have Adrian Sutil, and now is the sole remaining Sauber, and Sauber's only chance of scoring points with this in this race now lies with Adrian Sutil. Then we have Komario Kobayashi just behind, and the second of the Toro Rossos there off Pierre Gasly. And then we have the lead of the McLarens, Rio Haryanto there on a set of soft tyres, holding off there one of the Renaults, and then his teammate, and then Daniel Ricciardo is currently at the back of the grid. But now coming on to the restart this time round, as well as the whole field will bunch up once again. Hopefully we can get a clean restart and pile the pressure onto the back of Robert Kubica. Of course, Kubica knows his way around this race pretty well, seeing he won it 9 years ago, so it's been a long time, but still we're surrounded by people really that honestly know this Grand Prix very well. And Canadian Grand Prix, honestly, in terms of the challenge, it's actually a pretty difficult Grand Prix, given how close the walls are, but it's pretty much just, if you have a good car in a straight line, you're guaranteed for a good result. Now coming around the final chicane, now of course yellow flags without no taking just yet, but now coming down into turn 1, we didn't get the better run there. On Robert Kubica, there's a car pulled off there to the outside, yellow flags, so there's no taking into turn 1 anyway. And Jean-Eric Vergne's out of the Grand Prix, the championship leader. Jean-Eric Vergne had almost a 2-race advantage. He's now out of the Grand Prix. It's going to be huge now for the Mercedes and for Sebastian Vettel. That's it. If anyone wanted any incentive to go fast in this race, it's to gain 20 points on the championship leader. This is any way to do it. Now it's going to be a 3-way fight for the lead, honestly, now between the two Mercedes and between Sebastian Vettel. And surely they're going to turn the engines up to 11 now, give it everything they've got, try and close the championship lead, and try and take a victory for someone else. Because only Ferrari have won a race this season. I mean, Vergne's won 4 and Vettel's won 2. So this could be an opportunity for Mercedes or maybe even Williams or Red Bull to try and take a victory in this race. They're getting very close up behind the back now of Robert Kubica, of course keeping in slipstream there on the back of our teammate Sebastian Buemi. But of course Kubica on a set of soft tyres, so we have the grip advantage, and Kubica probably has a slight channel speed advantage given it's a low drag beat. Basically it's a low drag Williams, as I said quite a few times already this season, that has it just unbelievably fast in a straight line. Then coming down into the final chicane, as seen there in a straight line, there's absolutely nothing we could do there to try and get past Kubica, as our teammate Sebastian Buemi there comes into the pit. And that's going to be a drag race now. Down into turn 1, there's a green flag now. Come down into turn 1, getting very close there behind Robert Kubica once again. Fake a move there to the inside, try and put him off, but Kubica is fairly experienced now in Formula 1, knows that that kind of move is not going to put off the 2008 Canadian Grand Prix winner. And like going through the chicane, see now, through the corners, we are gaining a bit on the Haas because with our superior downforce, the chassis and just general aerodynamics over the Haas, and of course the Haas is a BMW team, so Kubica should be getting out of the way in all honesty. But if Kubica, I'm up for a fight if Kubica is. Honestly, don't mind him not getting out of the way. I want a good fight. Now currently we're in a Haas sandwich because we've got Lance Stroll right behind us there in P5, so Haas could be on for a very good points haul in this race because they're both on the soft tyres, so they haven't got to stop again in this race. So Haas could be on for a very strong points haul come the end of this race. But we know BMW reliability in the Haas has never been the greatest. Remember back to last season, Singapore, Grosjean leading the Grand Prix in the Haas, retired there with an engine issue, so it's not out of the question that things go wrong for the BMW power unit. It's now getting in switching once again with DRS on the back of Robert Kubica, now coming up in the final chicane close to striking me. We think about making a move there to the inside of Robert Kubica. Once again, Kubica experienced enough in Formula 1 to know that that kind of move isn't going to put him off and force him wide like with Sebastian Buemi earlier in the Grand Prix. Now again, good run on the back. Kubica once again, we go 2 wheels on the grass. They're trying to go around the outside there of Robert Kubica, trying to make a Jos Verstappen-esque move around the outside there. And we do make it up the inside there. We made the move stick there on Robert Kubica, who doesn't get the best of exits there out of turn 2. Now we've got a Lance Stroll going defensive there to the inside now for one of the Toyotas, trying to hold it around the outside there. I can't see which Toyota it is. It was on the super soft tyre, so I'd imagine that it's Komario Kobayashi. They're trying to go around the outside there of Lance Stroll, but Stroll just manages to hold on there to the inside from good defending there from Lance Stroll. Stroll really has finally woken up in this season. May have took his home Grand Prix. We see they're keeping pretty close there to Robbie Kubica. We know how much of a talent Kubica is, despite having to do everything with his left arm, both gear shifts, mainly turning the steering wheel one-handed, and that's really working out quite well there for Robbie Kubica so far in this season. But now Kobe actually gaining in the switching, coming over to the hairpin. He's going to try and move up the inside. One of his famous dive bombs up the inside like he did back in Japan in 2012, I think it was, to score his podium for Sauber there. But now he'll have DRS now and slipstream on the back of Lance Stroll, but Stroll just has pure straight line speed in that Haas BMW. Coming up into the final chicane, is Kobe actually gaining in the DRS, but is he close enough to try and make a move coming up into the final chicane? He's not quite close enough there to the back of Lance Stroll. Now coming in now, we'll get another buy of DRS and slipstream. Now to try and cut down to turn 1, so he's close enough this time to try and make a move on the back of the young Canadian. Coming into turn 1 to try and make a move, he's just not quite close enough there, has to stick it behind Lance Stroll there for a little bit longer. Now cutting a bit further on, we now got Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel stuck behind one of the Renaults, so once again Vettel and Fernando Alonso starting on the front row of the grid and finding themselves way behind everyone else. Safety car have really not played to their strategy in this race. Now Fernando Alonso, that's going to be AMG power versus Renault Sport power, and it should be a fight that AMG should easily win. Now getting a team on the back of Daniel Ricciardo, is going to pull to the inside of Daniel Ricciardo coming up into the final chicane. Maybe side by side, Ricciardo try to hold it around the outside, but just quite can't. And Alonso there gets pulling away instantly there from Daniel Ricciardo, gets compromised there, taking a tight line through the chicane. Now got Sebastian Vettel again right behind him, got one of the Red Bulls there right behind as well, so imagine that's some incentive there for Daniel Ricciardo to beat the Red Bull, assuming he was outed by the team early on in 2015. Now cutting a bit further on, Fernando Alonso now caught up to his old team McLaren, and makes you can go right around the outside there of Carmen Jordan. To be fair to Jordan, she puts up a good fight there to Fernando Alonso, but this is the might of the AMG power unit. It's just nothing compared to the Mugen Honda, despite McLaren's best efforts with the chassis and aero. Looks like the Mercedes AMG combination just mightier compared to the McLaren. And now Alonso can try and catch on to the back now of Harrington. The McLaren, I imagine that Harrington stuck his throttle pedal through the floor, trying to get any bit of straight line speed out of that Mugen Honda power unit. See Alonso there with the slipstream already pretty much half the gap to Harrington there in one straight. Coming into turn 1, you can see how the closing speed on Alonso on the back there of Harrington going through the corners. This is where the McLaren has maybe some advantage with their good chassis and aero, but Alonso with trying to speed can just bide his time to come out to the back straight and then make his move on the back of Harrington. They're coming up through here. Is Alonso going to try and make a move even before the chicane? They're going up into the second of the chicanes. A bit of a lock up there from Harrington, of course, just trying to find any bit of pace by braking late. Anything that you can do to try and keep in front here of Fernando Alonso, but it's not going to be much evidence. See Alonso down the post to the inside now of Harrington, going to make an identical move on Harrington to what he did on Carmen Jordan. Harrington just to hold it round the outside, and once again Fernando Alonso just drives right around the outside of the McLaren driver. So in 2 laps, Fernando Alonso made the same move on both the McLarens, but now Harrington will have slipstream and DRS to try and possibly come back at Fernando Alonso. I mean, they're both on soft tyres, so there shouldn't be any tyre advantage between the two of them. We see there Fernando Alonso already pulling away significantly there from Harrington. See there, despite having DRS open, there's just absolutely nothing he can do to try and keep up with Fernando Alonso. And Fernando Alonso really is already over a second clear. And they're cutting a bit further onto us. We've now caught onto the back now of Max Verstappen. And going to go right around the inside of Max Verstappen. Just breeze past the Cosworth power with Red Bull like it's not even there in a straight line. So we know Cosworth brought a redesigned turbo. As they know they're working with down on power in this race. And they're pretty much just proving how much our BMW upgrades are working now to get up to P2. Can we even try and chase down Pascal Wehrlein? He's currently on the verge to possibly take his debut victory in Formula 1 at Canada track, where he's done well at last year as well, taking 10th place there in the line. And they're coming on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. We've not managed to catch up to Pascal Wehrlein. Now Wehrlein coming down the final straight, coming up to the finish line. Now Pascal Wehrlein is going to take his debut victory in Formula 1. Arguably his best track on the calendar, the Canadian Grand Prix, and we're going to come home there for a very, very good P2 with Max Verstappen there running off the podium for 3rd for Red Bull. There you can see Toto Wolff looking honestly very ecstatic there with Pascal Wehrlein's driving honestly Y1T. Now Pascal Wehrlein taking his debut victory in Formula 1, and also he's the first non-Ferrari winner of the season. So is this where Mercedes stamped their championship charge? See, one mistake, one letdown there from Ferrari, and Mercedes are right there to pick up the pieces, with Sebastian Vettel honestly nowhere in this Grand Prix either. Taking a look at the race results, and Pascal Wehrlein take his first ever victory in Formula 1. 3.5 seconds clear of ourselves in second, with Max Verstappen rounding off the podium for Red Bull in third. Robbie Kubica would hold on to an amazing P4 position, 3 seconds clear of Kamui Kobayashi, who makes up 6 positions on his first race back in Formula 1, with Fernando Alonso only managing 6th in the end on the 2-stop. Lance Stroll comes home for 7th there, which I think is also his best result in Formula 1, with Pierre Gasly managing 8th there after starting last in the Toro Rosso. Danica Kvyat drops down to 9th in the second of the Red Bulls, also on the 2-stop, but did manage to beat Sebastian Vettel, who finished as the sole remaining Ferrari in 10th. Lewis Hamilton comes home in 11th there on a recovery drive in the second of the Toyotas, with Rio Haryanto rounding up the points positions there from McLaren in 12th, so great result there for Rio Haryanto. Haryanto's teammate Carmen Jordan comes home in 13th there, so a really good weekend there all round for McLaren, and they've come home in front there of both of the works Renaults, with Hulkenberg in 14th and Ricciardo in 15th. Adrian Sutter comes home in 16th as the last of the finishers, with Nico Carey unfortunately DNFing his first race of Formula 1. You see there, his stops are still counted, so somewhere between. So Carey there has retired within the final 6 laps of the Grand Prix, so commiserations there for the young Finn, who looked to be on for a really good result in his debut race. Jean-Eric Vergne comes home in 18th with some kind of mechanical issue, with Giovinazzi in 19th, and Sebastian Buemi is actually disqualified from the Grand Prix. And Sebastian Buemi crossed the line in P12, so he would have scored a point, but thanks to his disqualification, that moved Rio Haryanto up to take his first point of the season. For my driver of the day, I honestly don't know who to pick. There's just so many good options. I mean, Kubica with an amazing drive there, and also Kobayashi on his first race back in Formula 1 as well, leading the Grand Prix. And he also got Pierre Gasly from last to 8th in the Toro Rosso. So any of them three, I'd probably have to say Kobayashi, if I'm honest. His first race in 3 years, and a car's been completely different to what he'd driven back in 2014. And so he legitimately led the Grand Prix as well. So honestly, I'd have to say Kobayashi for my driver of the day. So now, time for the post-race interviews. So before that, remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the race. Leave a comment down below, vote for your driver of the day with the poll link in the video description. Also check out the UniONE wiki with the link in the description as well for the news on this season. If you want to have a look back at the past seasons and maybe sneak peek at what's to come up in the future. So thanks for watching, leave with the post-race interviews, and I'll see you all next time.
First of all, congratulations on your result, for the team and for Harris as well. This must be promising for the rest of the season, should it not?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm pretty sure that is easily progress. I mean, it's no secret that a BMW powered car is going to do well on the power track. So, I think BMW's logic is to work on their strengths whilst building on the weaknesses. So, give us some more straight line speed so we can defend better from the likes of the Red Bull, who really are our main contenders for third place in the constructors. That's really the best that we can target at this point in the season. So give us some more straight line speed, give us an advantage over the Red Bull, so we can try and hold on through the corners if trying in front of them. Because you've seen how easily I got past Max Verstappen in a straight line, and hopefully we can just try and carry that on, keep the momentum going through the season. I mean, we came third in the last race, second in this race, so who knows, maybe we could even go for a victory at Azerbaijan, which also is a straight line speed, the power track, and with that 2 kilometre long back straight. No, the main objective is beat Red Bull, but maybe we can try and even go for victory as well.
We heard you ask the team for Sebastian to let you through. What do you think about that?
I mean, I still stand by that decision now, because if you look back at it, with Buemi locking up everywhere, pretty much having, as I said, Flintstone wheels, and he looked to have some kind of imminent brake issue. From the team perspective, he should have let me through, because we've just seen how much time we lost to Max Verstappen and the cars behind closing up. But I actually had a quick word with Seb before this interview, And he said that the team never told him to let me past, and that he thought that they told me to stay behind to protect position from the cars behind because they know how good my defensive driving can be. So a bit of a communication issue there with the team, so that's something we definitely need to go and have a look at before the next race at Azerbaijan.
Finally, we've heard that Buemi has been summoned to talk to the stewards. Do you think the reason to disqualify him is the correct one?
Well, I can't really say much about that because, well, one, he's my teammate, and two, I still want to be driving for Williams at the next race, but I mean, I can't really say much. Obviously, the team are going to go and protest, go and appeal this after this interview, but I don't really think they've got much of a case of minus, because we know if you lock up and go past the final chicane, you have to rejoin past the bollard before the pit wall. And Buemi just came back on the track, which then caused the incident with Lewis Hamilton whilst he was trying to get past Lawrence Stroll. So I don't see things working out in Williams' favour, if I'm honest.
Thanks for your time, and we will see you in Azerbaijan.
Alright, cheers.